Ghostly tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Ghostly Tales from Zhai. Today, I'm going to tell you 3 short stories. The first story is titled Temple Demon. There was a scholar in Shicheng named Wang Qiho, who was the great-grandson of Wang Zhongyu, the left governor of Shaanxi province responsible for provincial administrative affairs. Wang Qiho told me that he once saw a woman enter his study. The woman appeared to be dark and fat, with plain features. She approached his bed with a frivolous and intimate manner. Wang Qiho firmly rejected her, but she refused to leave. After that, whether he was sitting or lying down, Wang Qiho could always see the woman beside him, but he remained resolute and unwavering. Finally, the woman became furious and slapped his cheeks with her hand, making a loud sound, but his cheeks did not hurt much. Then, she hung a belt on the beam and grabbed Wang Qiho's hair, attempting to hang him together. Wang Qiho unconsciously walked under the beam and stretched his neck as if he were about to hang himself. However, the servants only saw him suspended in mid-air with his feet off the ground, but they did not see the belt he mentioned, and he did not die as a result. From that day on, Wang Qiho seemed to have contracted a form of madness. One day, he suddenly said to his family, "That woman is going to jump into the river with me." With that, he dashed towards the direction of the river, but was eventually stopped by his family. Similar behaviors occurred frequently, with various suicide attempts, sometimes multiple times in a single day. Despite trying various forms of witchcraft and medicines, none had any effect. One day, Wang Qiho suddenly saw a warrior holding a chain walking into the study. The warrior angrily rebuked the woman, saying, "How dare you harass an honest and upright man?" Immediately, the warrior chained the woman's neck with an iron chain and floated out of the window. As they reached the window, the woman ceased to look human, instead resembling a lightning bolt with a gaping mouth. Seeing its appearance, Wang Qiho remembered 4 clay figurines of little demons in the city god temple, one of which looked like this. From that day on, Wang Qiho's symptoms miraculously disappeared. The second story is titled Jin Shicheng. In Changshan County, there was a man named Jin Shicheng, who was usually promiscuous and unrestrained in his behavior. Later, Jin Shicheng suddenly became a wandering monk, but his behavior became erratic, even eating dirty things as if they were delicious. Sometimes, he would follow behind dogs or sheep, and when they defecated, Jin Shicheng would crouch down and eat it. He even claimed himself to be a Buddha, but ignorant men and women, seeing his unusual actions, would still serve him as disciples, and the number of such followers grew to tens of thousands. Jin Shicheng would scold his disciples to eat excrement, and no one dared to disobey. Using the money from his followers, Jin Shicheng built temples and halls without regard for expense, and his followers willingly donated. The local magistrate, Nan Gong, was extremely disgusted by Jin Shicheng's bizarre behavior, so he arrested him, beat him with bamboo boards, and fined him to repair Confucius's temple. When Jin Shicheng's followers learned of this, they rushed to spread the news, saying, "Our Buddha is in trouble." Then, they competed to raise funds to rescue Jin Shicheng. Later, In just 1 month, Confucius's temple was repaired, and the amount of money gathered exceeded what harsh officials could extort through coercion. At the end of the story, the author provides the following commentary. I heard that Shicheng, his followers all call him Buddha of the present. This man's behavior and character have even reached the point of consuming filthy substances, which, to outsiders, seems to be at the lowest level. Even severe beatings are not enough to humiliate him, but punishment can ironically achieve another goal. The magistrate's handling of the situation is truly clever. However, it must be shameful for someone as outstanding as Confucius to have his temple repaired with money from followers of a heretical sect. The third story is titled, The Earthquake. On the evening of June 17th in the 7th year of Kangshi's reign, around 8 or 9 o'clock, there was a major earthquake at Zhai. At that time, I happened to be staying here, drinking with my cousin Li Duji by the lamp. Suddenly, there was a sound like thunder outside, and it traveled from the southeast to the northwest. Everyone was very surprised and didn't understand the reason. Shortly after, the tables and chairs began to sway, wine cups overturned, and the beams, rafters, and pillars began to move and shift, making a crackling sound. Everyone looked at each other, their faces changed. It took a long time before people realized it was an earthquake and then hurriedly ran out of the house, one after another. At that moment, people saw buildings and houses teetering on the brink of collapse only to stand upright again. The sound of walls collapsing, roofs caving in, children crying, and women screaming filled the air, creating a cacophony akin to a boiling pot. People felt dizzy and unable to stand, so they sat on the ground, swaying with the rolling earth. Water from the river spilled over the banks about 10 feet away, and the city was filled with the continuous noise of roosters crowing and dogs barking. It took about an hour or two for things to settle down slightly. Looking around the streets, most men and women were naked, gathering together and recounting the scenes of the earthquake, some even forgetting to put on clothes. Later, I heard that in a certain place, wells tilted so much that they couldn't draw water anymore, and a family's building changed its orientation from north to south. I also heard that Mount Qixia cracked open, and there was a huge hole in Yishui County, covering several acres. It was truly an extraordinary calamity. This reminds me of a story I heard before. There was a woman living in the county town who got up at night to relieve herself outside. When she returned, she saw a wolf carrying her child. The woman hurried over to wrestle with the wolf for her child. In the moment the wolf loosened its grip, the child was snatched away by the woman and held tightly in her arms. However, the wolf still crouched there without leaving. The woman shouted loudly, and the neighbors heard the noise and rushed over, and only then did the wolf leave. The woman's frightened heart gradually calmed down, feeling relieved. She gestured and recounted to everyone the situation when the wolf took the child and how she reclaimed the child. After talking for a while, she suddenly realized that she wasn't wearing any clothes at all, and then shamefully ran back home. This incident, just like when people forgot they were naked during the earthquake, shows how in moments of panic, people tend to forget what they should pay attention to, which is quite amusing. Alright. That's all for today's ghostly tales. Temple Demon, Shicheng and the earthquake. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.